Okay, here's our Virginia fox. I'm picking up this recording right after doing the skinning, so we still got a little bit of messy mat here, but we are going to now take the meat bits out of the feet. I left these a little long, so it's easier to get, move around the carcass. Cutting those off. When I sell them, or when other people sell them and leave the feet in, usually they're down to here. I'm leaving this on because it's a little easier to get hold of. One thing I want to point out that's kind of cool for those who get their hides already skinned, or maybe already tanned even. Look how much meat there is not in this space here. This space right here. There is no meat in here. There's tendon, and then there's, there's tendons and ligaments and things like that, but there is not meat in between here. This is just connective. Almost looks like plastic film. So when you're mounting these on a form, this thing is like thick. Like this area of the leg, it will be all the way, it will be out to here, even all the way down. Thin this out on the form, and then make sure that your skin glues to itself. Thin it out, or even take it out and make sure that the skin glues to itself, and the finished piece will be so much more realistic. I've seen some people take all kinds of stuff, even rope, to put on and rebuild that instead of leaving the hard form part there. But either way, make sure that's thin. Makes a huge difference in the finished result. The forms, when they cast those, if they tried to do that, it would break. They would get a lot of damaged stuff, so they don't understandably do that. But I just want to point that out. Like you can see through that because there's not meat. So you got one running, his foot's loaded like this, or even standing like this. Look how much of a difference that is from the forms. Anyway, side note, I'm gonna go ahead and skin these out now. Let's do some of these guys. Pay attention on any leg, like if there's long hairs. Some places, like, okay, it's not attached. On squirrels, they have a pad here with these long hairs shooting off. You want to be careful when you skin around that, or any place like there'll be long hairs like this. Some places, don't cut the root bulbs in those. This is just one way I do it. There's many other ways to do it. I usually kind of free it up a little. Pull a little. This fox has kind of big feet. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go all the way. Should be able to go all the way down without making a relief cut. I hate relief cuts. I don't mind the sewing. I just so much of a perfectionist, I guess. I like it to be as close to undamaged as possible. but that's not always possible. This feels like it's one of those cases where it's not going to always be possible. That's fine. So I am going to go ahead and there's the pad. Make sure there's not anything else in there that I don't want to cut. Important to cut from underneath the skin if you can. When you cut from underneath the skin, you're less likely to cut hair. Be careful of the matted skin. If it's matted together with mud and you go cutting through it, you're going to reach the muddy spot and potentially cut it. I'm going to stop where the elbow is here. I'm actually going to leave that alone for now. Let's see what that relief cut does. It just makes it that much easier. I'm saving these feet because I'm going to cast these. So I'm also trying to get them all the way down to the very last tippy toe joint. I'm going to save them. I say I'm going to cast them. I may cast them. It depends on if I end up mounting this one or not. But either way, I may still save them and use them for similarly sized foxes that I don't have the carcass for. Waste the opportunity to have access to those. I'll probably 3D scan them too. Not always necessarily for taxidermy, but for interpretive purposes, which is another thing that I do. Just being able to show the structure by printing an exact replica in resin. So the sharp side on this knife is here, and this is not sharp. I'm going to put this in here and see if I can't use it to pull down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Using it for leverage. Phillips screwdriver works too. Whoops. I feel like I pulled one of the bones free or something there, it sounded like. Maybe not. I've just been something else. Under the pad. I'm gonna twist this until I've been working in circles there. Twist going in the leg. goes a little quicker once you isolate out the first toe. You can see here, this is the claw, which means I'm getting it really close to the end already. Just gonna go slow. You can use a dull knife at this point, so if you're worried about cutting through something. So I'm just literally just scraping away the thin connective membrane. And that feels like I am probably pretty close, if not there. Yep, it should be right in there. You can see where that curves and sits on there. It's a little easier to see when you're doing it, feel what you're doing. You're just basically filleting that knuckle off of the little curve that makes the back of the claw. Careful working in tight spaces like this with the knives. These things are slippery. Little greasy critters. That's what it looks like. You get all the joints in the back toe, and then that leaves just the claw. You know, I'll do the same on the rest of those. And the same thing with here. Just work down to that last knuckle. All the feet. I'm not gonna bore you with that on camera because it is time consuming and tedious no matter who's doing it. But hopefully that helps you.